Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome, folks, to the Hungry Gamers, back with another How to Play video. And today we are talking about Treasure Cats from Glass Shoe Games and designed by Nathan Wohl. And I do apologize if I mispronounced that name. Now, what Treasure Cats is as you can see, it's a very small game in which each player is going to be taking on the role of one of these cats that are searching around through the farm and the junkyard trying to find the best items, which will in turn give them points, and the first player who gets to 5 points will win the game. Now, please make sure that you turn on your Klingon subtitles, because if there are any rules changes that happen after this video is published, that's where you'll find those corrections. And additionally, I need to point out that what you're seeing here is just a prototype. Now, let's talk about how to set the game up. First, every single player would get one of these score trackers here. Then the next thing you do is you take your core set of cards, which are these right here, which I have already shuffled up, and into those you would add additional cards depending on your player count. If you're playing with 3 or 4 players, you would not add anything to the core stack. If you're playing with 5 or 6 players, you would add the water bottles in the jacket. And then if you were playing with 7 or more players, you would add the snow globe and the laser pointers. However, for this example, we will just assume that I'm playing a 3-player game, so I will just use this core stack here. Then, in whatever manner you choose, decide who will be the starting player. For the purpose of this example, we will assume it is this player right here. Then that player will take the cards after shuffling them and deal 2 cards face down to each player. Then they would deal 3 cards face up in the middle. The game itself is going to take place over 3 different phases. The first phase is the Choose Your Treasure card phase. And what that is going to mean is you're going to select one of your 2 cards, and that's going to be your treasure card. Your second card would then be the card that you're going to use as a cover for half of your treasure card. So for the purposes of this, we'll just assume that I'm going to use the compass right here. Then I have a choice. I can either choose to take my second card and cover up the top half, revealing my location, or I could cover up the bottom half, revealing to everybody what treasure it is that I'm choosing to use for this particular turn. Every player around the table would do the same. Now, if you are wondering what these cards out here are for, these are simply to help you decide what it is that you want to play from your hand. It gives you an idea of what other cards may be in your opponent's hands. Beyond that, these cards here do not have any effect on any given round. So we'll assume this player over here is going to use the dog mask and is going to play it like so, thereby only revealing that it has the farm underneath. And then our other player over here is going to play their card like this with the can of tuna. And then that is the end of phase 1. In phase 2, you trigger all abilities that have an A on them and are visible. So that does mean that over here, while this one happens to be a P, if this was an A ability, by taking it and covering it like so, I would not be able to use it. In this case, this player here is able to use its A ability on the compass, and it says choose a player with a revealed item and guess their location. If correct, that player must discard their card. And so that leaves me with an option over here with the can of tuna, and in this case we will simply say that they're going to guess that it is the junkyard underneath, at which time the card would be revealed, and we see I was incorrect, so nothing happens. Then everyone else would have a chance to use their A abilities. It's important to note that the player who is the starting player, in this case, this player here, has to go first, and it goes around the table. Then once that's done, you move into phase 3, which is awarding of victory points. Then every player fully reveals their cards, and each player, starting with the starting player, gets to use their abilities if they have a P on them, like these 2 right here. And again, starting with the starting player and then going around the table. In this case, the dog mask protects itself from being discarded, which does not happen. And the tuna can only comes into play if the particular location that the tuna can is at. In this case, the farm does not win. Now, how do you determine which location wins? To do that, you take all of the cards that are there and you look at them by location. Now, I am putting them together for the sake of this particular example. This is probably not something that you would do at the actual table, but we look here, we see we have the 2 farms. Our score is 1-2. Versus the junkyard, the score is 1. That would mean that the farm location is the winning location. Then every player that had their card at the winning location, which would be this player and this player, would gain 1 point, like so. It is important to note if that for some reason a player had to discard their treasure card, and the location that they were at happened to still win, as it would if this was the case here, then they would not get a victory point. And then the first player to get to a total of 5 points will be crowned the winner. If more than one player gets to 5 points on the same round, you simply continue playing through each round until one player is up by 1 point. Then you would collect all the cards and give them a shuffle. You would pass the deck to the left, signifying a new starting player, and then that player would deal out the next round. And just like that, you now know how to play Treasure Cats. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments, and either myself or the publisher will get back to you just as soon as we possibly can. Additionally, you can find in the description exactly how it is that you get a copy of this game. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.